What?
The Forbidden Secret of Sentinel Island. Imagine a place where time has completely stopped and the modern world is nothing but a distant memory. Here, the internet doesn't exist, money holds no value, and a single step on the sand could be your last.
No, God! No, God!
Welcome to North Sentinel Island, a mysterious land isolated from the rest of humanity for thousands of years. From a satellite, it looks like a lush, green jewel floating in the deep blue of the Andaman Sea. But for those who know the truth, this isn't a paradise, it is a fortress guarding its own secrets. This is a story about what happens when curiosity outweighs caution and boundaries are ignored. Meet Arjun, a young and ambitious explorer driven by a lifelong obsession with the world's lost tribes. Arjun didn't just want to read about the Sentinelese, he wanted to be the first to speak with them. He spent years meticulously studying maps, ocean tides, and the few distant photos available to the public. However, the Indian government had placed a strict ban on visiting the island to protect everyone involved. The ban wasn't just about safety, it was about preventing deadly diseases from wiping out the tribe. Because they have lived in total isolation, the Sentinelese have no immunity to common city viruses. But Arjun was stubborn, believing he could find a way to communicate without causing any biological harm. To make his dream a reality, he teamed up with Kavi, a seasoned marine biologist. Kavi had spent 30 years studying the treacherous waters around the Andaman Islands. A prosthetic left hand served as a permanent reminder of a dangerous shark encounter from his youth. Kavi tried to warn Arjun that some doors in this world are locked for a very good reason. He believed the Sentinelese weren't just hiding, but were actively guarding something precious. Ignoring the warnings, Arjun spent his entire life savings on a specialized stealth boat. The craft was designed to glide through the water silently, avoiding detection by the islanders. One humid Tuesday morning, the duo set sail, leaving the safety of the mainland behind. As they approached the forbidden shore, the very air around them seemed to change. The water shifted from a deep navy to a brilliant, glowing turquoise as they hit the shallows. The beach appeared as a blinding strip of white, lined with towering palms swaying in the breeze. It looked like a peaceful paradise, but the silence felt heavy and unnatural. As they drifted closer to the shoreline, Arjun grabbed his binoculars to scan the tree line. He spotted figures moving stealthily in the shadows of the dense jungle foliage. They weren't just wandering, they were positioned strategically, watching every move the intruders made. Suddenly, a single man stepped out from the greenery and onto the white sand. This was the Sentinel Guardian, an athletic warrior with a gaze that could pierce through steel. He didn't offer a wave or a smile, he only saw a threat entering his sacred territory. With a swift motion, he raised a long, polished wooden bow and aimed it at the boat. He fired an arrow that whistled through the air, splashing violently into the water near the hull. The shot was precise and intentional, it wasn't an attack, but a clear and deadly warning. Arjun felt a surge of adrenaline, believing this dangerous encounter was actually a form of communication. Determined to show he came in peace, Arjun remembered stories of explorers leaving gifts on the shore. He grabbed a basket of fresh, colorful fruits, hoping a gesture of kindness would bridge the gap. Using a small mechanical catapult on the deck, Arjun attempted to launch the fruit toward the white sand. The basket soared through the air, trailing a few stray berries as it arched toward the shoreline. But the Sentinelese did not see a gift, they saw an unknown object invading their space. To the tribe, any item coming from the outside world was viewed as a potential weapon or a threat. Suddenly, the jungle foliage parted, and a dozen more warriors emerged from the dense greenery. The warriors began a rhythmic, deep chant that seemed to vibrate through the very air. The sound echoed off the surrounding limestone cliffs, sounding like the rhythmic heartbeat of the island. The tension reached a breaking point as a sudden, strong current pushed the boat closer to the reef. With a violent shudder and a loud cough, the boat's engine suddenly sputtered and died. A heavy, suffocating silence fell over the water, broken only by the distant sound of waves. Arjun and Kavi realized they were now sitting ducks, trapped in the open with no way to escape. The Sentinel Guardian stepped forward, his piercing eyes locked onto Arjun with an intense focus. The Guardian didn't look angry, instead, his expression was one of fierce protectiveness over his land. He pointed first toward the distant horizon and then back toward the dark depths of the jungle. His gesture was a clear signal: this land was sacred, forbidden, and not for the eyes of outsiders. As the warriors raised their bows for a coordinated volley, Kavi spotted something in the sand. A piece of old, rusted metal was sticking out of the shoreline, the remains of a century-old shipwreck. Kavi suddenly understood that the tribe's hostility was a learned defense mechanism against the world. He realized that every time civilized people arrived, they brought only chaos, sickness, or greed. The Sentinelese weren't primitive, they were the smartest people on Earth for opting out of a destructive world. Just as the arrows were about to fly, the engine suddenly roared back to life with a loud blast. Kavi slammed the throttle forward, pushing the boat rapidly back into the safety of the deep water. As they sped away, leaving a white wake behind them, Arjun looked back through his binoculars. He saw the Guardian standing perfectly still on the shore, watching them disappear into the distance. Arjun realized the secret of the island wasn't treasure or gold, but the peace they had maintained. He felt a wave of deep shame for trying to force his way into a home that didn't want him. He had come to study the tribe, but he realized he was the one who had everything to learn. Arjun understood now that respect for boundaries is far more valuable than the thrill of discovery. As the island faded into a green blur on the horizon, Arjun gathered his notebooks and maps. With a decisive motion, he threw his research and maps into the ocean, letting them sink forever. He didn't want to find a way back, he wanted the Sentinelese to remain a beautiful, untouched mystery. Arjun learned that the greatest act of exploration is knowing when to turn around and leave nature alone.